Don't f***ing waste your energy on things you can't control. Move on from it. If you are confronted with a situation or decision which is complicated or whatever, the work that you need to do is actually easy work. You do have the time. It's just depending on how you're using it. Go and learn it. You should never ever stop learning. Stop doing the same thing hoping for to change. Whatever you may have put in place for those New Year's resolutions, have a look back. Did you actually do that? Have you achieved any of it? Don't hang out with fucking idiots. There probably are a few fucking idiots in your circle. How are you going to classify fucking idiots? It's the Welcome to Fired Up Life, where we give you the tips, tricks, and tools to find your purpose and unlock real freedom. I'm your host, Ben, and if you're ready to break free from the daily grind and need a good kick in the ass to make it happen, then let's get fired up. Today's episode is all about your rules and your values. I wanted to do this episode because I wish I had done this when I was much, much younger. I've only kind of gone through this process 2 years ago about bringing into my life what are my personal values that I live by, that I want and we have within our family and with our children. And then also what I'm calling the top 10 rules for life and business, which we'll dig into those in detail as well. I do want to say that this episode does come with a lot of colorful language. So if you are in the car or there are kids around, please take that into consideration. I use colorful language in my day-to-day in my life because I really like the emphasis of those words to actually bring some passion into it as well. So let's start with values. If you are working in a company or have done in the past, you'll probably find that just about every business has a set of values. And those values are put in place to actually design a culture within the organization. They use that to create behaviors. They use it to hire people. They use it to find the right fit. And they also use it to control or exit people that might not be the right fit. So it's essentially what it is. It's a bunch of behaviors, right? And I think, I've got a couple of young kids, and one of the things that we really wanted to bring into our life and household was like, what are our family values? Like, what do we live by? And I think that that's a good way and an easy way to actually give them the ability to make decisions based on relating that to the values. So, my daughter's 5 years old. She can't pronounce the letter R at the moment. So she's like, are we really going to go outside in the rain? And we're working on that. But if you said to her, what are the family values? She would be able to replay them to you or anybody very easily. And those family values are responsibility. So I want to teach the children and even for myself and everybody else that I am responsible for the outcomes. I am responsible for my health. I'm responsible for my lifestyle. I'm responsible for my actions, the work that I do, the things that I say. Everything is an outcome of what I have done, which is my responsibility. So I want to really kind of enforce that to them and myself, that I can't point blame to anybody else for what's going on for me as well. The second one that we have is resilience. And we're all faced with different challenges, different struggles. Everybody has got a story and shit that they're dealing with either now, and you can be rest assured there is more shit coming down the line in the future. So in terms of resilience, what we're trying to really instill through there is, yes, bad things will happen. Yes, challenges will come along. Yes, there will be trauma, struggles, challenges, but it's about just rising up again. We spoke about this in previous episodes, and the last guest I had on, we spoke about, just stepping up to the plate and swinging the bat. So, a guy coming on later talks about that song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. That's really going to help put you in a position to manage difficult things. It's going to happen, and how you relate to that and how you work through that is really going to help. So we have responsibility, we have resilience, we have respect. And I think it's very important to respect other people, right? I see this out in society now where I think that is really starting to lack in the public, with people not, respecting their elders and doing things that they should be doing to actually show regard and respect for people around them. But it's also self-respect. You need to be able to put yourself in a position and realize what you are doing wrong or what you would like to do better for yourself, and actually put the work in for that. You need self-respect. I need to communicate with respect. We need to deal with people the best that we can, with respect being at the forefront of that. And I think that's really important. The last one that we have in terms of our family values is love. And I've written this down and I've given it to the kids. And that is basically based on the premise that everything that we do and teach and try and emphasize through the family values comes through a base of love. Like, the reason that we have a bedtime is because we actually love you. We want you to get the best night's rest. We want you to start to instill some of these rules and routines and regulations. When they're, brothers and sisters, they're both young, they like to get into heated arguments and sometimes some wrestling on the ground and stuff. Once we get through all of that fun stuff, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, it's all based on the fact that, I love you and that they love each other. For the inner circle, which I'll just reiterate again, like my inner circle of trust, that's my wife and kids. That's everything I do is for them. And that's what I want to protect and preserve, whatever the situation is. That is the number one. The outer circle beyond that is, my close friends, my influences, other family members, and that type of thing. Also comes back to that structure of love, right? I'm a massive fan of people who actually do love you, will be the ones who give you that constructive criticism. They are going to pull you up on your shit when you have done something wrong, your behavior's out of line. They're going to be the ones who sort of nudge and not attack, but give you that constructive criticism that sometimes you need. It's no good having a friendship circle where whatever you do or say, they're just high-fiving you going, hey, that was awesome, that's great. You want to have those people who push back on you. They're the ones who actually care the most. So think about values. And like I said at the start of this, if I could go back 20 years, I would have done that work then. And I've only done it in the last 2 years, and it's made a big difference for how I spend my time, who I'm spending my time with. And it's actually a massive motivator and driver to set out the things that I want to do. Let's get into the 10 fucking rules for life and business. The first one here on the list, and look, with my coaching clients, this is a gift from me to them. Everybody gets this. It's a large metal sign that they put up in their house or wherever they want to reinforce and remind them of what these business and life values are, because these apply to everybody who actually want to progress and move forward. It's simple. What I see is that, hey, the structure's great, the rules are simple, you've got all the tools, techniques, you've got all the resources for us, but the problem is people still aren't doing it. They still don't do it. And I think it really comes down to that overwhelming degree of the task or the challenge or the dream just seems too big. And I understand that. So stop making dreams, challenges, and tasks really big, huge things that are going to be hard to achieve. Set small, achievable goals. Don't focus on, I'm going to start a business in 6 weeks. Focus on task number 1. Put the idea in place. Task number 2, build out the framework of the business plan. Task number 3, register the business. Just take those little steps, and what you are doing is building a business, but you're not focused on reaching that top of the mountain. You're just focused on taking that next step. Rule number 1, do the fucking work. Don't be lazy. This, to me, is the number one thing that you see all the time, because the work that you need to do is actually easy work. The excuses that come through about people who cannot do what they need to do comes usually back to time and ability. But you do have the time. It's just depending on how you're using it. You do have the ability because it's just get up there and swing the bat. And what you don't know, go and learn it. You should never, ever stop learning. There is a world of free resources, content, ebooks, online learning, classes, everything that you don't know, you can actually start to go out and educate yourself on. For things that aren't really aligned to your skill set, you still need to go get an understanding of it, but then you can outsource or get other people to actually complete that work for you. And we'll get into this in later episodes, but that is, Dan Martell's book, Get Control of Your Time. You shouldn't be doing things that are going to take you a long time to do or is not in your natural skill set. You should get other people to do those. And we're in that world and environment, which I've mentioned in previous episodes. It is so cost effective and easy to do that you should be doing it. Okay. Rule number 2, know what the fuck you want and get after it. What we do here is I don't think we have a clear perspective of what we're actually going for, and it's not long-term enough. So here's one thing that works really well for me and my wife. Every year in December, we do what's called roles and goals. We map out and put a plan in place for the coming year. What goals do we want to achieve as a collective? It could be our health and fitness. It can be financial goals. It can be improvements and maintenance, health and wellness, like whether we want to go on family holidays, time spent with the kids. Everything is put into that roles and goals. There's a couple of reasons for this is you don't want to get into a dispute with your partner or your kids or your family or close friends around why are you doing what you're doing. And it's once you've put that rule in place, like that's very clear to go, I've told you and we have planned out that once a month I'm going to go and catch up with the boys. Or once a month, she's going to go out on a girls' date. Every quarter, we go and see the family. Every year, we go on 2 family trips overseas or we go camping. Everything is put and planned in place. So when the actual thing comes along, you're not going to get any of that conflict around why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense because there's always going to be conflicting paths and it just makes it very clear. In terms of roles, most of us have a role as a sibling, roles as a son, roles as a partner, roles as a father, roles as a mother, roles as a friend. Being very clear on what that is to set the parameters is a very, very good starting point. What I also did 2 years ago was kind of like, instead of trying to work out all the detail of where I wanted to end up, I just made a very clear kind of vision, if you like, for the kind of life that I wanted. And it just came down to, I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Just quickly, if you're ready to ditch that 9 to 5 or grow your sideline hustle and live a life on your terms, then click the link below to join our free Fired Up Facebook group. We'll also be providing their tips, tricks, tools, techniques. Would love you to click that and join on it. Back to the episode. It wasn't about doing less work. It wasn't about taking the easy road. They talk about burnout and stuff, which is a hot topic at the moment, but burnout being related to overworking and doing things primarily on what you don't want to spend your energy and time on. I'm working as hard, if not harder than I was back in the corporate world, but I'm not having that fatigue. I'm not having that mental drain. I'm not feeling the same stress and anxiety because I'm actually doing exciting stuff that I'm super passionate about and want to focus on. So think about that top line vision, like what do you want to do and be? And then it's about breaking that down into taking the steps in towards that. Rule number 4, be productive early. Don't fuck around all day. Now, I really like this because I get up super early, and there's a reason for that. And I'll explain what they are. First of all, I think the start of the day is the best of the day in terms of, the sun, the air quality, the peace and quiet. It's I usually do my exercise in the morning, and when I go out there on the streets or hit the exercise that I'm doing, it's usually very super peaceful. So that's kind of really, relaxing, and I like that time of day. The other thing is like the world hasn't kind of woken up yet. So the phone's not pinging off, the phone calls aren't coming in, not looking at any emails or anything like that. It's very much a start of day to go, right, how's this day going to flow through? And I put in the previous episodes, having that blockage of time, from that 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., that's me time. Journaling, planning, goals, exercising, breathing, listening to podcasts, education, that is all of my time. And then once from 7 a.m. through to kids going to school, then I can be present with them. We can have the breakfast together, we can hang out, we can talk, and actually get that part of it in place as well. I find this really interesting because if you are in a job, and when I was in a job, if they said to me, hey, Ben, we need you in Sydney tomorrow for a conference or whatever it is, your flight leaves at 5:45 a.m., you get prepared, you pack your stuff the night before, you get everything organized, the alarm goes off at 4:30, you're getting dressed and off to the airport, and off you go to this conference. As soon as you've got the ability to make the decisions yourself, for some reason, it becomes difficult and it becomes hard. You got to apply the same shit to yourself. You should be applying more than that to yourself than is being applied to you by other people. You do not negotiate with yourself. This is you in the mirror, and it's you against you. So you can get up at 4, you can get up at 5, you can get up at 6, whatever works for you, but be productive early. Do not fuck around all day. Do not sit there scrolling through social. Do not sit there mucking around with stuff that is unproductive if you're trying to get ahead. Rule number 5, don't fucking waste your energy on things you can't control. This is a big one because this really does impact us a lot. And at the end of the day, shit's going to happen. And if it's something that you cannot control, move on from it. We mentioned this in previous episodes again, but if you are confronted with a situation or decision which is complicated or whatever, write down all the key things that need to come into that decision process. Now cross out what's outside of your control and just focus on the things that are. This is where people get stuck with decision fatigue. They're not moving quick enough. You actually just need to go, right, that's happened, is what it is. Let's pivot, let's make a decision. Move much, much faster so that you can get over that and move into a situation where you are spending the energy and time on those things that you can control. Rule number 6 is don't hang out with fucking idiots. Now, the friendship circle can go quite wide, and what I've found as I've got older is start to really narrow that down. Time is the most valuable currency that exists. So what you're doing with your time will be that direct outcome of the person you are, the progress you've made, and who you've become as a person down the track will be based on that. How are you going to classify fucking idiots? To me, it's the energy drainers. These are the ones that are constantly complaining. They're constantly gossiping about other people. They're constantly talking about all the shit that's going wrong, what's not working for them, how life is unfair. They're the ones who are trying to pull you in a direction, usually by, insulting you or telling you that what you're thinking and doing is pointless. They've got all the best advice in the world, but actually you need to go and have a look if that is what you want as an influence in your life. The guys from Vibes, we were talking this morning because, I'm getting some hate comments on my social media about some of my shorts where I mentioned around superannuation, great program, great incentive, an awesome thing, but people should consider going into self-managed super funds by doing their own research, learning to invest in stocks that they may have an interest in because the returns are so much better. And this guy just writes back, that's bullshit. Based on frickin' what? You know what I mean? I don't need to listen to this guy's noise and this guy's mess. I couldn't give a shit. If he's out there killing life on his investments, fucking bravo. But I'm not going to change my plan and strategy. And if he wants to go and find out some facts, then go and just look at the data, man. Do your own research. But these people, keyboard warriors, you imagine having them in your lounge. You imagine having them down at the coffee shop where you're saying, hey, I'm going to do the self-managed super. And they're like, that's fucking stupid. Shouldn't do that. It won't work. You're going to fail. Cool. Get your portfolio out, mate, and show me what you're doing. Because otherwise it's just yap, fucking noise. Would you trust and work with an obese personal fitness instructor? Why not? Because they're not freaking doing it themselves. Would you trust and work with a broke financial advisor? Probably not. So take a good look at this, and some of these conversations are going to get hard because there probably are a few fucking idiots in your circle. I think the easiest way to approach this is to actually tell them what you're doing, why you're doing it, and your plan. So when they say, cool, man, Friday night, let's go hit the streets, let's go get on the piss and everything, go, no, like I said, I'm taking a break from the alcohol. I've got other things in place. Tonight I'm focused on the kids. Next weekend we're going away camping. After that, I've got to go and see the family. You just say, this is what I'm doing, and be unapologetic about taking that approach to things, because it's all on you. And when you get to the end of the road, and even before you get to the end of the road, you're not going to look back on your life and go, I hang around with a bunch of fucking averages, right? If you want to level up who you're hanging around with, level up who you're talking to. One last point on this, because I think this is also a valuable part. There is close friends and family who are influencers, but then also there's a network. So when I say don't hang out with fucking idiots, make sure that you're actually investing the time and energy to go and meet with people who can lift up your game. Like maybe they've written books, maybe they've got a great podcast. Like reach out and have conversations with the people who might be able to give you the sort of influence or message that's going to help you with things. A guy we're interviewing in a couple of episodes, he runs around my neighborhood and so do I. And I've been running past this guy for 3 months, and I got up the courage enough, which is not in my natural way. But, part of the thing that I put in my roles and goals at the end of last year was build the network, do uncomfortable work, start going and seeing people and things and actually building that confidence. And I ran towards the guy with my hand out and he shook it and we took our AirPods out and I said, mate, I've just been running around this neighborhood with you for a couple of months and I just wanted to introduce myself. Turns out he has got an amazing story. He's just published a book called Brave Enough to Change, and we're going to interview him later. But I've just expanded my network by one person doing cool things right aligned with what I'm trying to achieve. So now I'm actually expanding my knowledge base and network base. So make sure, find these people, ask your friends and family, who could I talk to about this? Do you have any recommendations of the sort of things that I should be looking at and reading, whatever, to actually build throughout that? Okay, rule number 7, stop fucking trying to please everyone. Can go back to the keyboard warriors. We can go back to the shit that people say. This is not your role in this world to please everyone. For me, inner circle, want to please my wife, want to please my kids. That's number 1. Outer circle, close friends, family influences. Do I want to please them? Yeah, but not as much as that first one. My clients, I want them to be pleased. So I want them to see results. I want them to have an impact in their business and in their life based on what I am helping them with. So you can't kind of make sure that everyone's happy because it's just literally impossible. So then again, come back to who is the most important to be happy. Number one of that list, I would put yourself. Number two, it's that inner circle. And number three, clients, customers, close friends, close family. That's the ones that you want to please. Because we've also said this previously, but you're going to have to start saying no in order to make more room for the yes that you want. Rule number 8, stop bullshitting. It's fucking embarrassing. I'll give you a story on this one. And I think it's really about stop telling everybody everything that you are either doing or that you're going to do. The reason for that is because it's got really ultimately nothing to do with them. And what happens is when you're sitting across the table from someone and saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start running next week, I'm gonna start my business, here, look at my logo, isn't that cool? What do you think of the colors? And then next time, a month later, you're sitting down having the same conversation and you haven't started exercising, nothing's happened with the business. All you're doing is creating this kind of bullshit scenario where it's just all talk. So keep some things to yourself instead of telling people. It's really not relevant. It's better to actually show people what you've done than tell them what you're going to do. That's it. Like the people that are keyboard worrying me at the moment, cool. It's all fucking noise as far as I'm concerned. I will show you. You will see. And if you want to come to the party, then you can show me back in return. Stop lying to yourself. This is the most important one. If you're looking in that mirror and you're making a promise to make change, to make a difference, to leave the job, to start the business, to work on the relationships, to get that real freedom, then it's you versus you. It's a promise to yourself. Stop bullshitting. It's embarrassing. Take that one on board. Number 9. This has made a huge difference for me and everybody that I see and speak to, and particularly a guest we've got coming on in a podcast later. The massive transformation has been so significant. I really want you to take this one on board. Take care of your fucking body. Exercise and eat well. Warren Buffett opened up one of his speaking segments. I think it was at one of the universities. And he said to the group of people, he said, imagine you have just got your first car at 15 years old. Here's your first car. Now imagine that is the only car you're ever going to have. You will not be able to get another one. This is the one that you will have for the rest of your life. And it's so interesting about the whole new approach that comes into that, where people would look after it, they would put the best fuel in it, they would clean it, they would polish it, they would make sure that the maintenance schedule is kept up, they would make sure that the lubrication, the parts and everything else is running in pristine condition. Because if that car breaks down and if that car starts to fail to a point of no return, that's it. Apply the same thing to your body and your health. I'm no angel on this, right? Because years ago, I was putting all sorts of poison in my body. I was not exercising. I was not caring. And guess what started to happen? I'm in my early 40s now, but the shoulder started to give way and start to get sore. Then I'm at the doctors, bursitis, tendonitis. Then I'm getting injections. Then I've got 6 months of therapy with the physio. Then my back started to cause problems, and to the point where I was lying on the floor with tears coming out of my eyes and excruciating pain. I could not move. After scans and consulting and everything else, it turns out that I needed lower back surgery. So I get the surgery, and now I'm limited in my mobility. I couldn't pick my daughter up. I can't mow the lawns. I can't get the groceries out the car. And that was a significant thing for me to actually go, holy shit, I'm not old, and this body is not in condition to carry me through to the future. So I was like, what's stopping me doing this? And of course it was me. Of course it was the routine and the activities, but I was like, this shit changes now. Like, it changes now. And like I said, when that change decision was made, small, achievable goals and milestones. It just started with 1K walks to get the hips and the lower spine moving. For the shoulder, looked up online, free resources, free exercises. What is the best exercise and mobility to fix a rotator cuff tear? Then do the work. Do the fucking work. Don't be lazy. So I dropped down every morning, did the 5 minutes on the shoulder. And here I'm, sitting here today, and I'm not trying to, gloat or anything like that, but the shoulder is fixed. I went and saw the surgeon a month ago with my latest scan and said, how's it all looking? He said, it is looking good. I said, can I keep running? You run. Keep doing what you're doing. This is actually fantastic. So you can actually repair yourself. You can look after yourself. But what you'll see is that most people wait for the massive breakdown, like I did, to make the change. Don't do that. Start looking after your body now. The stuff that you put in your body, just start to make some changes there. It's not to say you can never do this again. Just get the balance right. Someone said the other day, treat food as your medicine. Otherwise, you're going to start having medicine for food. And I think that's a really important thing to say. And you can go look at someone who is unhealthy in their 50s or 60s, go have a look at how many pills they're eating and how much shit they're putting in their body because they're trying to repair and recover from the damage that's already done. Rule number 10, the last one, is stop doing the same fucking thing hoping for shit to change. If you are not applying and getting very committed and motivated to making a shift in the stuff that you're unhappy with, what can we do with that? It is not going to change. We are almost 6 months through the year. So whatever you may have put in place for those New Year's resolutions, have a look back. Did you actually do that? Have you achieved any of it? So start now. Just put it in place now. If you are doing the same thing, going out every Friday night drinking, going in here, doing that, eating shit, not doing all the stuff that you should be doing, nothing's going to change. It's just not. And then once you actually make that decision, be prepared to do the work without seeing any result at all. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the short term. But if you do this thing for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, once these habits and rituals just become part of who you are going to see, feel, and notice the change that you've been able to put in to your life, standards and values, and the rules in which you live will be something that you can be absolutely proud for and happy with. Hang around for future episodes so we can actually talk to some people who have been through amazing life experiences, who have gone through a whole range of trials and tribulations and have still been able to come out the other side with habits, rituals, mindset, rules and values in their own life to actually go and make it happen. Catch you later. Thank you for joining me on Fired Up Life. If this episode has given you the kick up the ass you needed, I'd love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow me at Ben Vickers Official on socials for more insights and updates. And don't forget to head to firedup.life to grab all the resources and tools you need to unlock real freedom. We'll see you in the next episode. Catch you later.